Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the third installment in the Evil Dead franchise, Army of Darkness. Ash is transported back to medieval days where he is captured by the dreaded Lord Arthur. Aided by the deadly chainsaw that has become his only friend, Ash is sent on a mission to recover the Book of the Dead, a powerful book that gives its owner the power to summon an army. I really liked this movie, and I didn't think I was going to like it. I have heard that some people really like the movie and don't like the movie as much, and I'm definitely on the side that really likes this movie. First off, I just love the vibe that this movie has, and I think it's a reason of why I love this movie so much. This is definitely the least horror this movie has, given it's a horror movie franchise, so I think that's why I could see how a lot of people might not enjoy it as much, because you come for a horror movie and you really get this like adventure action comedy movie. It has Indiana Jones adventure vibe. It's a very different one, because I think what Evil Dead does so well is that they're just completely different from a lot of movies that I have seen, but it reminds me of those really cool adventure movies, and I love adventure movies, and Indiana Jones is one of my favorites. And this one just reminded me of that. Like, there's a scene where Ash has to pick which books of the dead it is, because there's 3 of them, and it reminded me of a scene in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where he has to also choose which cup is the right one. So it's just little similarities like that, but this one definitely has way more comedy, especially slapstick comedy. And speaking of the comedy, I really liked it. I think this is the funniest one in my opinion, and I think Evil Dead is really good on the comedy aspect. This one just made me laugh a lot, and I also think this is the most watchable one. Right before doing this review, I was writing down some notes and I was going back to certain scenes in the movie just because I wanted to laugh again, because I do think this one's really funny. Something really good that this movie also has, and I guess this goes for the franchise of Evil Dead as a whole, is that each of the movies stand on their own. Like, if I'm in the mood to watch Army of Darkness, I can just watch Army of Darkness. It's not like any of the movies feel like a filler movie for a second part, if that makes any sense. Like, they're all stand on their own. And I would also say this, another franchise that has that all the movies stand on their own really well would be Scream, and yeah, Evil Dead is definitely one of them, and Army of Darkness is definitely very unique. I just like the idea of placing Ash in a world that he does not belong in. I love when they do that with characters, similar to Back to the Future. I mean, they put Marty in the 50s and they put him in medieval times, and we've only ever seen Ash really at the camp in the woods, so this is completely different because we literally have not seen him anywhere. And this is my favorite version of Ash. Bruce Campbell played him effortlessly and amazingly, and he has this, like, I mentioned it in my Evil Dead 2 review, but he has this Jim Carrey vibe to him where he just has the funniest facial expressions, and even when he's in pain, he makes it funny. Like, there's a scene with a bunch of little tiny Ash people, and like, it was so funny because anything would happen and like he would just make the funniest facial expressions, and that goes for the whole movie. And I just think this is the most we got from his character. This is the most Ash he's ever been, because in Evil Dead 2 they definitely developed him a lot more, and I kind of got a sense of what type of personality he had, and then in this one it just really shines, and I enjoyed that a lot. Also, I forgot to mention this in my Evil Dead 2 review, and I'm really pissed I didn't say it, but I'm gonna say it now because it also applies here. But I love that these movies have a little tad bit of animation. This one had it less than Evil Dead 2, but it had it sometimes, like with the skeletons or at the beginning when they were like recapping the previous movie and showing the Book of the Dead. There were a couple of scenes where I noticed that there was some animation, and if you know me, you know I love animation, and I think they did a really good job with that here. Speaking of the technical aspect of the movie, beautifully shot and beautifully directed and edited, and it has again those awesome POV shots, and this time we even get more of them, like a POV shot when somebody shoots a bow from an arrow and it's like the POV of the bow. Like, I thought that was amazing. And then again we get Ash in the woods and we see like the point of view of this evil thing coming to get him, and we know something is gonna go down. The movie also has a really nice way of editing itself and like cutting clips. I just have to really praise the team working on this movie, because I really enjoyed the way this one was edited, because there were a lot of fast cuts and fast jump and dolly in, and I really enjoyed all of those. It made it much more fun and it made it much more interesting to look at, and I just really enjoyed all of them. If I had a negative to say with the movie, it's that I wish that there was more horror in it. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of this one, and I said Evil Dead is really good at bringing comedy into their movies, but I do wish we could have gotten more blood. This one is definitely the outlier of the movies because it's completely different than the other two, which I think is really cool. I think Sam Raimi did a really cool job and was very bold when making this movie, so I praise him with that, because this is completely different than the tones of the other two. However, I did miss the gore. There was only like one scene where it was like a lot of blood. There was like a volcano explosion of blood again, and then it like cut to Ash's reaction. So I did miss the blood. That's like honestly the only thing that I have a problem with this movie, because I did want to see some gore, because I think Evil Dead is really good with their gore. But going back to the positives, I loved the sound mixing of this one, and there were a lot of shots, especially when it would switch to showing Ash and then would switch to the point of view of something. The audio would change and then the sound mixing would change. For example, like when it was this thing following Ash and we saw it from a perspective of the ground, which again, I wonder how they did that, because that must have been really hard to get, because the way they did it was just so epic. And then you hear like really weird rumbling and weird noises, and then it switches to Ash and it's like you don't hear any of that, and it's just like these fast cuts that they do that work really well, and I just think that that whole aspect of it was amazing. I also really enjoyed the score. It added to the extraness, the adventure parts of it, and the final battle scene was epic, and like I think it was just awesome, and I think the movie delivered just from start to finish, and it never slowed down, and I'm actually going to give this movie an A. I think as of right now, this is my favorite Evil Dead movie. And a close second with Evil Dead 2, because I keep switching between the two. I was like really debating which one I would say was my favorite so far, because I still haven't seen the Evil Dead remake. I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch it, and I don't even know if it's good, because remakes are skeptical sometimes. So I don't know if I'll end up watching that one for this series, but I do in the future want to make a whole ranking of it and like talk about the series as a whole. But I really enjoyed Army of Darkness. I would say it's not really a horror movie, so if you watch my last video, it was my horror movies for newbies, and you're thinking of watching this, go right ahead, because it's literally not scary at all, and that's just where it flawed for me. But it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed this one, and let me know down below what you guys think of Army of Darkness. And again, thank you just for commenting and telling me to watch these movies, because I would probably have not watched them anytime soon, and I really enjoyed this one. I had a really fun kick out of it, and I've been talking about it with everybody because I just had a blast. Thank you guys again so much for watching today's video, and I'll make sure to see you guys again tomorrow. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to support my channel, and I'll make sure to see you guys next time. Bye guys!